Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacob and I'm attempting to become the youngest German-speaking person to sail around the world solo. But not taking the easy route, instead going around the legendary Cape Horn. Over the last several years, sailing vessel Wolf was prepared for this voyage. In the last episode, after successfully making it across the Bay of Biscay, I diverted into the town of Muros on the Galician coast because of problems with the engine, so it is now up to fix it. Do 500 nautical miles really make that difference? Because we have 27 degrees below deck here. I was like sometimes even running the heater on the day in Camaret, and now I'm trying to survive here. Yesterday I started to inspect the engine, what the cause was, and I found it pretty quickly. I have diesel bug, so that is great. I took out the diesel pre-filter yesterday, that one here, and that is fully clogged with that black slimy thing, which is diesel bug. And I hope that this has not progressed that far now, not to the injection system. Diesel bug is caused by bacteria living in the layer between the diesel in the tank and condensation water at the bottom. If it is overseen for too long, it can evolve into a mud-like substance, clogging the fuel system of the engine, and in the worst case can lead to a total damage of the engine. The first step is emptying and cleaning out Wolf's diesel tank now. So the main reason why this happened basically is I topped up all my diesel reserve on Guernsey, which was basically the whole tank and all three of those red reserve cans. And that diesel now, after the incident in France, has been in the tank for about 5 months now, with a lot of condensation water. So the diesel bug had time to grow there, and yeah, unfortunately that happened, and now I have to get rid of it. But I think there are definitely worse places for that. Okay, so I'm trying to make as little of a diesel mess here as somehow humanely possible. I need something here. Okay, now let's just not mess this up here. Oh. I really feel a bit like I'm in South America or Central America here. I've watched a TV show a while ago, Long Way Up, where they rode from the southern point of South America, Ushuaia, to Los Angeles, all the way through South America, Bolivia, Colombia, etc. And since then I've been basically obsessed with South America, and since South America is hugely impacted by Spanish culture, the Spanish did a few not so great things there in the past, but because that is hugely influenced by the Spanish culture, etc., it really feels and looks like Central and South America here, so that's amazing. I just like the Spanish people so much. It is like when you speak one single word of Spanish, hola, hola, or something else, which means as much as hello or hi. They, as soon as you speak one single word of Spanish with them, their eyes light up. Then they come like, hola, ¿qué pasa? It's just so absolutely amazing, the people here. So friendly, sympathetic. Absolutely amazing. So completely chill. Love it. Absolutely love the people here. Okay, good morning or good afternoon, because it's already afternoon. It looks pretty good. Now there are a few... how do I put the camera here? A few smaller things. Maybe I'll get that on the left side here out, but I think the smaller ones shouldn't be a huge problem. What makes the tank cleaning nearly impossible is the lack of a service opening. I can only see and enter the inside through an 8 cm hole on the fuel level sensor. Okay, so I'm taking apart the fuel system now, basically part by part. So the short overview, the diesel comes from here, from the tank, from the diesel tank behind here, goes through that line and through the pre-filter, which is normally in here. I have that out right now, that one here. Then goes from the pre-filter through the fuel line to the diesel pump, which is under here, up to the fine filter, and from the fine filter into the injection system here. So the first thing is now getting that line out from here until here, cleaning that out, drying it out and putting it back in. Okay, let's take the first one apart here. There should be no pressure in the fuel system because the tank is completely empty, so there should be air in there. Okay, and that is not moving an inch. Making use of the air pump of my dinghy, I clean the taken out fuel hoses before putting them back in the engine. That gets repeated 3 times for all 3 hoses. Okay, so it's already the late afternoon again. And I have the cleanup of the engine now finally nearly finished. So I already took out the first line and cleaned it and just put back in the second line here, which goes from the pre-filter to the fuel pump below there. And now just the last one is remaining, that short one here, going from the fuel pump to the fine filter. Until now there fortunately wasn't much in the lines, just a bit of stuff, as you can see here. That's the bowl where I've drained it. You probably can't see it well on that camera, but that stuff was in it. So a bit of the whole diesel bug thing got sucked into the fuel system, but luckily not that much. Only the pre-filter was completely clogged, so that probably caused the malfunction of the engine. Soon the fuel hoses are all back in place. Before I can finish the job, I have to wait for a solvent which goes into the tank to kill remaining bacteria. Otherwise it would look pretty much the same again in a few months. So I have a few days to take a break from boat work and decide to get my road bike out and visit the world famous city of Santiago de Compostela, some 80 kilometers inland. So because a few people were asking how I transport my road bike here on the boat, which is 31 foot long. I originally had the bike in the below the cockpit, but the risk there just isn't too high that rust is building up. So I decided to stuff it into here, which actually worked. Didn't expect that. But first a cleaning and the whole service of the bike awaits to take on the journey. Gracias. The next morning I set off on the ride to Santiago. The roads here just look absolutely amazing and I'm very looking forward to that. Okay, let's go on a little adventure. 60 something kilometers. I'll put it somewhere here how many miles that are for all the American people. And 1600 meter elevation in 25 degrees, so that's gonna be fun. But it's absolutely amazing here. I stopped at a pharmacy on the side of a road because I have no sunscreen and the sun is just smashing down today. Hola! Hola! And yes, I'm on a sailing trip into the tropics and don't have a single dose of sunscreen on board. That is the absolute genius move. That's nice. Apple Maps has led me down here, and that is the end of the road. There is a pier below there, and there is the town or a small city where we have to get to. So I just cycled all the way down here. So I have to get up here again, and there's a dog somewhere. So I just took a look into that little car repair shop because I needed a screwdriver to retighten my brakes, because the rear brake didn't have any pressure at all, so I was just using the front brake. And the Spanish people are just amazing. They couldn't wait to help. They didn't speak a single word of English, but just pointing at the screw, and everything else is history. Okay, so there's a big sign, Santiago, but also a sign, cycles prohibited from here on, so here it is. So until here I was allowed the bike, now I have to find a different route. But I can get off here. I have to eat something anyway, so let's try to find a gas station or something. Okay, so here's a nice thing. I've just noticed that I'm on the spot where I was about an hour ago. There was an electrical shop on that corner, that advertisement there and that corner here. I've gone one full circle. No, that is great. That is just a typical supermarket sandwich, but I can't tell you how good that tastes. Now we are climbing up into the mountains, which lay between the Atlantic coast and Santiago in over 30 degrees Celsius heat. The main reason for the visit is to see the famous Cathedral of Santiago, but as it is now dark, I decide to stay in a hotel for the night and explore the city tomorrow. I originally didn't want to get any fancy stuff for basically half a night, but that was the only one with 24-hour check-in. The next morning, after checking out the hotel, I get a breakfast and can already spot a lot of people on the last meters to the cathedral on the way of St. James. Also, I make my way there through the chaotic Spanish traffic. The Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela is one of the most important pilgrimage sites in the world, believed to house the tomb of the Apostle James. Since the 11th century, pilgrims from all over Europe have journeyed here along the Camino de Santiago, a network of pilgrimages all over Europe. The people which came here were on their way by foot for the last several months, and you can see their excitement on their faces while entering the square in front of the cathedral, their huge goal after an incredible journey. I was sitting there with my camera for hours, and the good mood of the people arriving here really transitioned onto me. What an incredible place. Before starting the ride back to Muros in the afternoon, I enjoy a coffee just behind the cathedral. Leaving this amazing city is, to be honest, not that easy, and I've just been here for a day. The climb back up into the mountain awaits now, this time from the other side.
When I get there, I'll know the answer. Let me know. Straight toward the warm sun and into his hands. When I get there, I'll let my feet roll. When I get there, I'll break in your arms, I'll lose control. When I get there, I'll know the answer. Let me know when I get closer. Right under the warm sun and in his hands. When I get there, I'll let my feet roll. When I get there, I'll break in your arms, I'll lose control. When I get there, I'll know the answer. Let me know when I get closer. When I get closer. Let me know when I get closer. Open up the sky for me. When you say I'll be much deeper, I
That
will
was absolutely goddamn amazing. Wow.
The next day I get to work on the engine again.
And that is the new filter. A beautifully clean filter. Okay, so the filter is back in its place below there. And now the only thing remaining is refueling, putting diesel back in the tank and hoping that that thing runs. And I've decided to use the old diesel actually, which is in those red cans, because the sediments, the already existing particles, have all sunken to the top. That is standing here for a week about now. And I've put together some fuel filter. That one here, which goes into the fuel inlet, and an old t-shirt into here, so that catches the, if some particles try to get in there, that catches it, hopefully. So we are about a third full now in the tank, and now that thing goes into it. I think 60 milliliters for shock dose, so for infected diesel. And now the last thing remaining is to bleed the air out of the fuel system. So get every little bubble of air out of the fuel lines. For that I'm opening that screw with 2 to 3 turns. Then pulling the lever, where is it? There, on the fuel pump, up and down until fuel is basically spitting out of here without any air interruptions.
Bleeding the engine turns out to be way more difficult than expected, as there's absolutely no fuel in the system. So I first have to prime it, which means getting fuel in there manually in the first place.
Okay, so it's evening now, the next day. That everything takes longer on the boat than expected, really everything. But yeah, yesterday until late in the night, 2 AM or something, I tried to bleed out the engine. Absolutely didn't work. The problem was that I got fuel into the line which comes from the tank to the pre-filter without problems. But the line from the pre-filter here to the fuel feed pump, it was just impossible to get fuel through there. I still have the hand pump connected here. Okay, so it's now again 2 hours later. The bad news are that the diesel still hasn't reached the pump, but the good news are that the bottom of the let me get a lamp here. The bottom of the fuel filter here, the pre-filter, has filled with a bit of diesel. Never had that before now. This is a historic moment which will go down in the history of, I don't know, anything, but we have diesel here. We have diesel here. That is the line which goes on the diesel pump here. And it was impossible for the last 1.5 days to get diesel up here through the pre-filter. We made it. Oh, I can't tell you how relieved I am. Please just start, please. I'm begging you. Okay. Okay. That stuttering is a bit of air, but I'm not celebrating too early. I'm not celebrating too early. So I just was in the shower for the first time in 3 days now while working on the engine of the boat. And it is just so absolutely amazing every time after you get such a big job done to dress nicely, get something nicely to wear again. Not just the t-shirt which you wear over the last days, and actually get under the shower.
Caminando me canta el sensontle, voy sanando un poco mi dolor. Y yo sé que ya no volverás. ¿Para qué caminar el camino? ¿Para qué la nostalgia en la flor? ¿Para qué andar buscando destino? ¿Para qué acompañar mi canción?
Okay, so I think on this point I'm gonna end the video. And I just wanted to reflect a bit on it. One thing I learned in sailing until now is that the places which you don't plan to visit are often or mostly the most amazing ones. Like, I didn't plan to come into Muros here, that was just because of the engine. And so far on this whole trip it has been the most amazing place. Through that I'm looking forward to South America so much. I'm really excited for that. Muros just is like half of that, basically. As I already said earlier in that video, it just feels like South America here. I've never been there, but that's the South America I know from movies, from TV shows, travel documentaries and whatever. And Santiago, so Santiago really stuck with me. I must say that was absolutely amazing. I was sitting there in front of on the plaza, there something on the square in front of the cathedral, and I was sitting there for I think 2 or 3 hours with my camera, with the long lens, with the tele lens, and capturing emotions, people, or trying to capture emotions in people which were arriving there after I don't know, the last weeks or months being underway by foot, on the bike, etc., doing the Way of St. James. And it was just so absolutely amazing to see the absolute excitement, and I don't even know how to describe it really, just the euphoria of those people to have achieved their absolutely great goal after battling through probably extreme high and lows over the last weeks and months being underway. That was just so amazing, that really like transitioned on myself. I was on a very neutral mood at the start of the day after leaving the hotel, and after I left that square, the area around the cathedral, my mood really went up a lot, and that just stuck with me for the whole way back with the bike to Muros here. But yeah, Santiago was absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that I stayed over the night there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the video here now. I'm staying for another few days here now,
and then finally setting off to the Canaries. Europe really doesn't want to leave me. Finally setting off to the Canaries, a bit over 800 miles left, 67 days at sea. We're through the worst of the weather chaos now in Europe. Thank you very much for watching and being part of this adventure. Really means a lot. Think that adventure is now really getting started as we are finally leaving Europe. So looking forward to that. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye. In the next video, another boat job with a new inverter awaits, and we continue our way south to Vigo as our last port in Europe.